is your first collaboration lunch? Come on up. Let's go. Really half-hearted. All right. So don't be shy. Don't be embarrassed. Just tell us who you are, where you came from, how you got here, what you're going to be doing as part of the partnership.
I'm Valerie Hernandez. Woo! From my mom and dad. Woo! Oh, I'm your new payroll person. Woo!
We haven't been paid in months. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I'm Kate McGinnis, and I'm a digital specialist on HTC 53. And I'm going to go off that see I drove you this morning.
Yeah, my name is Will Leach, digital intern for HTC 53. Came from Wheaton, so suburb of Chicago, and yeah, excited to be here.
My name is Jaime Cascarena, accounting, came from this property management company, and I'm glad to be here.
Any other new folks watching here? No? All right, thanks, Joe. Get on up here. Oh, no, we got one more. Hold on. Two more.
Hi, Mike Ashley. How did I get here? Banking and insurance, got tired of it. Started doing floating maintenance for you. So.
Mike was being a little modest there. Courtney had told him about the Cardinal couples contest, so she actually recruited her husband to work here. So really wanted to get Cody and Val a run for their money this year. So, hi, what are you doing? Hi. All right, go ahead.
I'm Sri Ganesh. I go by Ganesh, and I work with Collab for a data engineer. So anything comes up with reports, it's me. I just joined, yeah.
All right, good job. All right. Look forward to talking with you all this month. Wanted to do one thing though. I think you all know this video here. This is Shannon. There's another video of Dell driving to work. If you've seen these kind of My Cardinal stories produced by Agency 53, we're actually going to roll this series back out starting towards the end of 2019. But I do think it's interesting, and even the way we sit at lunch, we kind of sit with who we know. You know, we were just down in Greenville with some folks. Lauren got through with I don't know if she's here. Like, there were 3 communities. We all went out. Everyone got to choose a table, and guess where everyone sat?
At their community.
Yeah, like with the people they know. So one of the things we need to do a better job of is telling our own stories so that people know who do we work for. You can make funny comments like you came from your mom and dad, which is very technically true. But we also want to like tell our stories to each other. So we got a brave volunteer. My man, get on up here. So, come on. There you go. Let me finish. Before I see you. You need a clicker or not? But I think that sometimes up here we forget that this is about 150 people. There's 1,000 people that work at Cardinal Group. 1,000 people, and we're growing, right? And the people out on site doing it every day, like their stories are just so amazing of how they got to Cardinal, how they grew, and what they've learned along the way. So I wanted to bring in Juan just as a starting point so we can start hearing more stories. So now you can take it away.
Awesome.
Good to see you.
My name is Juan. My story didn't start with Cardinal, but it'll get to that in a bit. It started about a little over 5 years ago. I was working grounds at a property, ended up parting ways with that company just because of the minimal growth opportunities. I was unemployed for about 2 weeks, searching for work, and I submitted an application to a property in Denver and after that, like literally 2 minutes after that, I got a call from a guy named Chris Corfield, who I love very much. And then he set up an interview with me, and after that, we kind of hit it off, not the way you guys are thinking. Yeah, we started working, and I got a really good vibe from him. Kind of saw that he was a good guy. We were working with another company, but shortly thereafter, we didn't feel very valued and appreciated there, so he jumped ship to Cardinal, and I was kind of skeptical because he told me that he was going to take me and Fernando with him, but he ended up keeping his word, and we went to Cardinal. We ended up at Fairways, Laurie, with Megan. Yeah, Laurie, she's the best. Yeah, so we just worked really hard there every day, staying late, putting in the hours, and making sure that the property was better than it was given to us. And after that, we literally just made sure all the work orders were down, made sure the turns were done, and I forged really good friendships with like all the people there. Eventually, we sold, and Chris gave me $1,000 out of his own sale bonus, by the way. So thank you, Chris. But yeah, we ended up selling. I ended up getting promoted to MTL and thrown to a student property, which was the Lodges of Colorado Springs, as an MTL. So it was kind of new for me because I had only worked at conventional properties prior to that. But yeah, it was kind of scary. I was kind of surprised that I managed to get the return considering that. But I made it, and 4 months later, they actually sold that property too, which was crazy. Then I ended up relocating to Boulder, and I held down the fort there for a year. And I ultimately ended up here at Veranda, which is a great community. Now I'm in charge of, I have more responsibilities and in charge of more, but I learned, what I learned along the way was to stray away from complacency and, you know, never get too comfortable, always seek discomfort. And I learned that the only way you can grow is by seeking that discomfort. And I can see myself, you know, being more than this in the future. I'm a little nervous right now, sorry guys. But no, definitely, I just want to keep working hard and just keep doing what I'm doing, and eventually, hopefully, all of that hard work doesn't go unnoticed. And I want everybody to know that I'm grateful for everyone who's helped me on my journey, all the managers, all my co-workers, everybody here, because we all play a vital role in each other's work. Somehow we're interconnected. But yeah, I just want to keep going, and eventually, who knows, I can maybe be landing one day. I don't know. Maybe if I'm cool enough.
You smile too much.
But yeah, that's eventually what I hope to be. I hope I can somehow work my way up and not be in the same place in 10 years, because if I'm in the same place in 10 years, then something's not going right, you know? But definitely want to say thank you, and my cardinal rule, the cardinal little rule that I like to think about is believe in doing the right thing all the time, because that's literally what I live by every day. I like to go to work and make sure I do the right thing, make sure I'm, you know, providing the best customer service that I can, all while being able to do a really good job at the same time. So yeah, thank you.
It's something that gets kind of lost, I think, just along the way with a lot of the just positions and people in their careers along the way. But what motivates you to do the right thing all the time? Like what makes you want to be landing?
Well, I'm gonna say this. To be honest, it's as cliche as it sounds. It's my son, because there's been times where work gets a little overwhelming and your personal life kind of goes into that as well. But I have to stop myself and tell myself, there's a reason why you're doing everything, and that's for my son, so he can have a better life than I did growing up. So that's my #1 motivation, and he's, to be honest, my hero. Aside from like Chris Corfield and all of you guys, you know, I look up to everybody, you know. Anybody who's above me, I don't really look at anybody above me. I just look at that's somewhere I could be too, you know. And I always think that way because I never set limits on myself. So definitely. Thank you.
You were a much harder act to follow than I expected. You did a great job. So thank you. And if you all want to volunteer to do this, you can just talk to Nick Morrison. Nick just reviews all the Cardinal stories that are shared via Glassdoor. So if you've gone on there and you've posted anything about your story, your experience, anything you want to share, I know you all are just dying saying, hey, how do I get up and speak to a room of 100 people? It's easy. Go post on Glassdoor. Nick will contact you and let you know who's up next. So let's do the championship belt. I don't think I see this guy here, so Will, you come up and act as a proxy for this. Assuming Joey's filming this. If you haven't seen James Graham from Cell 3.1 around lately, it's because he literally did, and Will knows the stats. I'll just let Will come on up and share the stats of James July, but this guy has just been an absolute like berserk animal mode, and he's still got a great attitude, a great smile, despite the craziness. So I'll let you fill in some of the stats on James and the takeovers.
Absolutely. So James had a portfolio all year, had 5 individual clients. Starting in July, we added from our existing clients 5 new communities, all in July, which is more just happenstance than something we chose to do. I don't think we chose to do it in July, but over 3,000 beds added to the portfolio, and all from his ability to maintain really good relationships, put his team in a position to succeed, and ultimately build just a tremendous amount of trust with our client groups. So yeah, a huge testament to the hard work that he's put in. I think he's been on the road for about 3 or 4 straight weeks now, with probably a few more weeks to go. So if you see him, certainly give him a pat on the back. He has earned it. He's put in a ton of legwork. It certainly shows off in our ability to grow with some important clients. So yeah, absolutely, James Graham.
Nice. We're gonna have 53 present the Hercules. What's it called? What's the 53 award called? The Victor Award. That's right. Before we do that, though, I want to bring one more person up for a round of applause. This was kind of a late notice to me, or else I would have just gone belt. But I'll bring Henry up here for a second. So I want you all to look at this face, all right? Just Henry's been an absolute warrior for us from his time in St. Louis down to Texas, took on the hero, Westmore, kind of a you name it. And how many years have you been with Cardinal now?
5 years in September.
Right. He's age 15. It's like the president, right? You get elected and then it goes to hell. But Henry recently took a really cool position out in Los Angeles. He's going to be leaving headquarters to go back into operations and take on an exciting role there. So 5 years in, we'd love to see what you're going to do the next 5. So I just wanted to give everyone recognition, a round of applause for Henry. So.
You know, Juan kind of said it perfectly earlier about getting out of your comfort zone, and I think that's something that's really important for everyone. Certainly was not part of my game plan, and I made that abundantly clear to Sean throughout the process that I was like, man, I don't want to leave Denver, but he kind of kept pushing me about it, and I look forward to continue to get out of my comfort zone. So hope you guys all continue to challenge yourself to get out of your comfort zone.
Thank you. Thanks, brah.
So bad.
Let's get you LA ready.
Tank tops only, right?
So we have a new trophy because someone broke it, not me. We're really excited to give this month's trophy to Aubrey. It's been so. It's between me and her, and pretty much everything else that you've been doing for the department. We're just so thankful to have you. So.
here for a special late-breaking announcement. So,
All right. One more announcement regarding someone who's been here for a long time and been kicking ass, Richard Randall. Want to announce that he's been promoted to VP, which I think is well deserved, and probably a lot of you thought, I thought he already was a VP. So I want to give a shout out to Richard though. He's been just a tireless warrior. He's really redefined the way that we operate on the investment side. He's done an incredible job working with our capital partners, garnering respect from our team, brings a ton to the organization, and is really a key part of our long-term plan here. And I think it's a long overdue recognition. And shout out to Richard. Congratulations, man.
Richard, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, sure.
This is so unexpected.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on it. No, just really excited for kind of my next opportunity at Cardinal, and I don't think too much will change with my job description, but really excited to raise funds too and start doing some more conventional assets and build kind of what we've created on the 10 assets that we have now and hopefully a lot more. So it's been awesome working with you guys, and looking forward to another 4 years. So thanks.
Richard, I told everyone you weren't just a pretty face when you started. This is a little bit of the engagement piece of the lunch, and I hope you guys do this. We're working on something with the People and Culture team. This is stemmed from a number of conversations I've had, including recently a presentation I was able to do with Agency 53, where I think our ability to say we love the Cardinal culture is one thing, and our ability to describe what that actually means is something actually a little bit different, right? And I think the thing that we can describe is like the emotion of like, I like coming to work, or I like the people, right? Like I love the people I work with. Well, the people are just a reflection of the culture. The culture is an agreement we all make to actions and behaviors, right? And I think I love this quote. The culture of any organization is shaped by the worst behaviors the leader is willing to tolerate, right? And those are things that we all need to think about is, what does the culture actually look like in action and behavior, and what are the things that actually work to detract from that, to weaken the culture? Everything we do is either in adherence to the culture or against the culture, right? And it's really easy to say, I love this company, but our actions and our behaviors actually what matter. Right? That's what builds the culture between two people. So you'll see here this kind of blank sheet here. So like, what behaviors enhance Cardinal culture? What actions hurt our culture? All right. So we're gonna do just turn to your tables, discuss this, and we're gonna call on some volunteers. The one caveat is, and I know I'm not gonna ask you to do this, but I know you all have this on you right now. Make sure we're talking about what actions and what core values. Right? We just can't say like, well, we're nice to each other. It's like, well, which core value are we actually talking about? Right? Like, what is it? And I want to start this among the headquarters because really this is something across the organization we need to continue to do. On site, your team at Veranda, all across the country, Henry goes to Los Angeles, being able to articulate what does the culture look like in behaviors. Okay, so if you're new here, I know you just got one of these, so that's really good timing. Otherwise, turn, talk to the people at your table, and we'll do that for like 3 minutes and bring you all back in. So, let's go.
Because sometimes our clients
The only people that work on our site are
Did you get my Slack about our new mom? Yeah, she was super happy. I haven't sent them today's version, so like stay tuned on that, but they're happy with us like regardless, so I'm gonna send it right
I thought Carlisle was the other one, and I thought it was like one, and it was like,
You guys have done cool stuff. Yeah, it's just like on the client side, they don't have like communicate at all. That's where I really handle it.
I just landed 3 new really trendy terms. Upper West Side of New York City. We're naming right now.
So how do you find these people?
So that's what Brett is doing. He's doing the finding. Right now they're coming to us.
That's what I was
So inbound sales. But I did a little bit of inbound sales last week. Contracted virtually. So I'm like, ooh, boozy, Upper West Side, Berkeley, San Francisco. So in San Francisco, I got a new client there. We take a whole new business from New York City.
And bring it back in. If you want to keep talking about this, Sky Lounge is open every day at lunch. That's great you guys are engaged, and honestly, like one of the things that Dell really promotes is that we were always very intentional about our culture as a principals group. We were always very intentional at the VP level. Like we need to be intentional across the team, right? Like this is something that the more you talk about it, the more you understand it. If you haven't spent a lunch talking about the culture, like, you know, Broncos and CNN and all that other junk, that will still be there. You know, you can talk about that the next day. Spend a day just talking to your teammates about culture. So let's just throw out some behaviors that actually enhance our culture, show what our culture looks like. Go ahead. Go ahead, Lisa, thank you.
Leading from like the top down on the culture. So we need an example from our team leads and from the people that are around us to be able to kind of adopt the same behaviors and traits that they are adopting. And if we're watching somebody not exhibit those behaviors, we're learning to not
Thank
do
you.
the same thing.
I think it's a good general statement. Each of the core values have actions and behaviors. And the way you model those for your team or what your team's going to learn and probably follow, right? So what else? Go ahead.
We talked amongst our 2 tables here about like being passionate and determined, but also embracing change. Just because your passion kind of drives your momentum to move forward, and your ability to kind of roll with potentially take things as they come, things change really fast around here, and being excited about the changes rather than like hesitant to them.
Right. So that's it, right? So like we're called to embrace change. So when something new is rolled out, we either drag our feet and complain about it, or we can say, hey, I'm really excited to see how this plays out, right? And those are very subtle difference between what actually enhances our culture and what's against our culture. What else? Go ahead, Nick.
It's kind of the idea that we're all in it together. I mean, I think one really kind of put it well today, just saying that, you know, it doesn't matter what you do for the company or what your position is, kind of at the end of the day, we're all in this together. And actually, even Doug just kind of did it in action. I don't know if you guys saw, but I totally spilled a huge drink on the carpet over there. So, you know, me running around freaking out, and then all of a sudden I turn around, there's Doug with a roll of paper towels that he got from over here.
we ran through those, we went in the closet, got another one. So I mean, it's just this idea that like, you know, we're all kind of.
So what did Doug, like, be a team player, respect those you work with, right? You see someone that needs help, be a team player. Don't just walk by them, help them out, you know? And Doug, just being the great fatherly figure he is, is able to do that. So. What else from over here? Michael, go ahead.
I like to more with less. I think one of the things that attracted me to Cardinal to begin with was, you know, it doesn't matter how outsized the challenge is for our team, we never back down. We always attack it, so that's something that's really important to me.
Nice, thank you.
A lot of people on the road this week, you know, just that right there. I think returns on the student housing side, accountants, HR, you know, a lot of people hitting the sites, rolling up the sleeves, and doing a lot of jobs that fall outside of their normal job responsibilities. I think it's an incredible demonstration of what culture we do.
Thank you. All right, what about the other action? What about the stuff you see that actually goes against our culture? It doesn't bring our culture to life.
The noise, like listening to the gossip or the unspoken things you talk about, people who are quick to write a negative review on whatever about something they're upset about rather than you talk about something that can help fix it.
Yep, thank you. What else?
I think keeping team members just as warm bodies because we need them. The people who are expressing that they just don't, they have a feeling about Cardinal that isn't in line with what our culture is. So.
Great, would you send me a list of those names? Hey, y'all, ESO's just going for it.
Yeah, it's really just kind of being under the stagnation, sticking to the status quo because it's easy. Not looking for
there you go.
Opportunities to innovate. That's something that our culture goes against our core value of growth and knowledge.
Great, thank you. I like that. Two more, go ahead.
The us versus them mentality. You know, we're all one company, but like you said, with the example of sitting with your groups, that's, you know, just a little more cohesiveness between all the Cardinal being Cardinal.
Yep. Thank you. Someone recently tried to upplay that a little bit, and I would just say, like, we all need to just like understand, like, we're kind of like a little bit tribal by nature. You know, there's kind of like this birds of a feather thing, and that's where leadership has to step in. And I think there's maybe this overblown, you know, 53 versus Cardinal. Well, last year it was group 2 versus, you know, student versus conventional, and before that it was me versus Eric, you know, or something. It was just like, or CGI and CGM weren't aligned, and you know, the investor was treating, you know, the investor Mike Neely was treating the guys in management poorly, and investments in management weren't aligned. So I think we're just called as leadership to like break through that. You know, systems and training actually used to be a department. You know, it's like we've had like just like trying to find everything in its right place, but the truth is we're all in the right place and we're at Cardinal, right? And I think that let's not get like myopic at a certain like, you know, one point in time of like, oh, it's Cardinal's not aligned with 53 or whatever. It's like we need to always just flow through that. Anything that separates us, for all the talk on diversity and inclusion, like we need to turn that into action. Like inclusion is breaking through those barriers, even the perceived ones of, well, I work at Cardinal and I work at Highside, or I'm on the maintenance team. I don't go talk to the office people, which I know you do. I know that's the narrative, right? You guys think it's just here, like half the time you go on site, the maintenance team, the office team are, you know, oil and water. So I think that we culturally always have to flow through that, right? We either, you know, we hang together or we hang apart, right? That's just the truth of what we do. This company was intended to win as a team. So anything that keeps us from being a team goes against our culture, right? What else? One more. Go ahead. Thanks, Andrew.
Not being afraid of the changes that are on the horizon. I mean, we're not a 250 person company anymore, we're over 1,000. And with that, you know, change departmental systems, all those just embracing it. And not being afraid of what that looks like.
Thank you. you. Anyone else?
Yeah, actually, please. Just that
3 times? All right,
I'm
this
just
is it.
saying.
That's the time.
I talk about this a lot all day. It's the idea that HQ isn't the pearl, that we're not the center that everybody should aspire to get to, but rather the strength of the company is everybody else, and we're just there to support them.
So another thing, and we'll kind of move forward from here, but one, again, talk about this stuff as a team. Okay, it was amazing to me the number of on-site teams. So again, it's like, I love the culture, I can't articulate that. Like we as leaders are called to articulate, because if we let people only love the people of this company, the people will, we already know that. Like many of you may be even getting the phone ringing right now on other career opportunities. Like that's just the nature of employment. Okay, but what we have to love is the actual culture itself. Okay, because the culture is what brings everyone together. So we, all of us, most of us are team leaders. We talk to our on-site teams. We're here. We need to know how to describe what the culture looks like in action. And again, what are the worst behaviors we'll tolerate as an organization? Because those behaviors define the culture. So if you let someone come in and gossip about someone else, if you let someone come in and, you know, brag about their achievement or take credit for someone else's work, you know, there's so many things. We can't, like, it's not just a singular thing. We need to learn, and for those of you, I know, you know, you brought up your son. We encourage behaviors and we discourage behaviors, right? You know, it's like, hey, don't do that. You know, oh, hey, do that. You know, hug it out. Like how, you know, you all have seen my kids. They're just constantly spanked all the time. Discouraging these bad behaviors. But in all seriousness, like when we know the behaviors that bring our culture to life, that's what it does. When we know the behaviors and we say, you know what, like, even though I love you, I'm not going to let you do that because like the culture brings us together and I can't let you like that. That activity is no good. Like that's actually what builds relationships, you know, to call those things out. So complaining, putting your needs over the team, being a victim about things, not embracing change, that brings our culture down. What brings it up? Having fun. Believe it or not, the thing you want to do, which is have fun at work, is cultural to us. Right? I mean, literally in the 10 things we chose, bring your best each day and create fun. Literally have fun. Prank each other, laugh, go do events, like go do anything that brings us together. We're called to do that culturally. How cool is that? That's like culturally, we want you to have fun. Okay? Recognizing each other, helping each other. All of these things that are awesome actually are cultural to us. Okay? So just remember that. You know, learning a new skill. I mean, Juan articulated it so well. Pursue growth and knowledge. Where do you want to be in 1 year, 2 years, 5 years? You're at an organization that literally says, we're the rocket ship going up, come with us. All you have to do is pursue growth. How awesome is that? Right? The right people will be attracted to the culture if we live it out, okay? And this isn't unique to HQ. It's all of the HQ companies. It's all of the on-site. We need to learn as leaders to call out behaviors and action to bring our culture to life, okay? Any other comments or questions to that? You're always so smiling. Thank you. I don't even know if I say anything good, it's just you're always smiling. CGI team knows this, it's so good. Yeah. Bunch of stone cold faces, smile. I'm gonna bring Eddie up, and Michael, and this is the part of the presentation that I just deleted like 10 slides to talk about this, and this is like really weird because I don't want this to be like political at all, okay? So if you have like a political buzzer, like you can tap it, or just like turn your ears off and go like troll some shit on Fox News later or whatever. But I was texting with Eddie and Michael on Saturday, and I think you guys know, and there's others in the organization, but specifically both Eddie and Michael are from El Paso, Texas. Okay, so we all knew that, right? And I was just checking in on them and saying, hey, anyway, your family's involved. And just like, how crazy is that we live in a world where we have to like check in on people to make sure their families and friends weren't involved in violence. Okay, it's just like, you just let that settle in, it's kind of crazy. And then that night, so you know, I went to bed and I was thinking about y'all, thinking about your families. I know Eddie's brother-in-law was actually a first responder And it's just like, wow, that's crazy. And the fact that we become so numb to that as a nation. And then that night, went to bed, woke up, checked my Fox News, like I do in the morning. In my hometown of Dayton, Ohio, same thing. So in one night, like just like really crazy, overwhelming, just kind of connection of the people we have from El Paso. So quick show of hands, who's connected to El Paso, Texas? You're from there, friends, family. Okay, everyone else who I've hired from Dayton, Ohio. I mean, just so many of us. I mean, Zach, thank you. And I think it just really really hit home, right? And I think that where my mind went is we debate gun control like so loosely in this country, right? And I think that I probably know the answer to this question, but raise your hand if you've ever been trained to carry a military grade assault weapon. All right, me and Connor, cool. All right, we're good. All right, we got one more over here. Bree, obviously, you've ever seen Bree, she's doing it. Like, it's just so crazy that we live right now in a time where we're so afraid of violence and mass shootings and just unnecessary bloodshed. And the debates that rage around that are so big and confusing, and who can own what, and how many round magazine, and it's protected by the Constitution, or it's not, and it's not my fault a video game made me shoot up this. Like, we literally are numb to this because we don't know what to do. And I think this campaign right here is kind of enough is enough. It's just something I would encourage you all to just reflect on. It's just like what, and again, this isn't a political, this isn't go vote red or blue or who's gonna do what. It's right now our country is just plagued with violence. It's just plagued. And you know who's gonna change it? Young people. You guys. You guys are going to help lean into that debate. And if you have, raise your hand if you have school-age children. I mean, my God, is it fucking scary. Like, my God, is it scary. For all of you debating having children, like, we live in a world where we're afraid if our kids will get shot at school. Like, whoa, that's freaking mind-blowing, right? I mean, it's so scary. I mean, all the parents know what I'm talking about. It's like, so I would just, again, this isn't a go vote a certain way. We need to lean in as a nation, just as a people. And I know one thing about the people in this room is that we're passionate, we're determined, and we get activated and we do something. And I don't know what that is, but like enough is enough. All right, we have to stop letting a bunch of talking heads make it sound like we're hopeless. Like we're hopeless to what we can do. Like this is like really crazy. And I know it's the 250th time this year there's been a mass shooting in this country. I mean, it's just awful. And I think just reading about your own hometown, having that happen, the bars you used to hang out in, the restaurants, maybe the mall or the stores you guys maybe grew up and you know where it is and you shop there, it's just like, enough is enough. Okay, so I'll let Eddie add a few words and then we'll just do a quick moment of silence and recognition for just the awful weekend we had.
Yeah, just to put another personal tint on it, my mother is very involved in everything El Paso. My brother-in-law, as Alex had said, was one of the first responders. He's an FBI agent. So he was there and as a professional did what he needed to do. My mom, on the personal side, went to go volunteer to feed the first responders the next day, and she was actually part of the building where they were notifying the families. Sorry, no, it's kidding me. And my mom said, I felt like I was part of a military unit. I felt like I was in a war zone where they were notifying people that their families had died, and watching that was just so surreal. And we should never have to deal with that as a society. And we live in one of the greatest countries in the world, but some of our own stubbornness, gets to us. And hearing her recant some of that stuff was really hard to hear, and I'm very proud of her, but it brought it very much home to the fact that, we need to do something. And, being aware of it, talking about it in a way that's not overly political, I think is important. We have a good forum and opportunity to do that amongst this group. And we really just wanted to do a little moment of silence for those folks who lost their lives, those families that are irrevocably changed forever because of the things that happened this weekend, and can only hope that we come to our senses as a country and really start working towards some long-term fixes for things like this, so that we don't have to worry about it, sending our kids to school and going to public places. So if you could all join me in a moment of silence for those in Dayton and El Paso. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
I hate to have such a somber moment, but it is such a somber thing. And I think that I would just hopefully that you guys can leave here with some kind of reflection on just the world that's out there. It's impacting our lives and our children's lives and this country and our community. So thank you. I honestly was like, I don't know if this is even a good forum for that, but like I said, enough is enough, and this stuff is, it's crazy and it's personal, and there's a lot of stuff that matters a lot more than leasing up apartments and running businesses, and this is our lives we're talking about. This is our freedoms to go to public places, so I felt like it was the right thing to do. So thank you for that. We have like 10 minutes left, so we'll do a Q&A wherever Eric Frank is, Eddie, Michael, if you guys want to join me, and we'll just go into Q&A. So thank you.
Sorry for killing the mood.
All right, you can ask about all. Go ahead. No, you're just smiling. Never mind.
Hoping you can go a little bit into new glass door portfolio or project that we're working on, and kind of the importance of everybody hopping on. And
Sure. You want me to do that, or you want to do that?
Go for it.
Okay. So Nick was talking about who here found Cardinal Group via the website Glassdoor. Okay, so a few of you. Who here knows what Glassdoor is? Okay, so most of you, that's good. So Glassdoor, we've recently launched a partnership with Glassdoor, funded a national opportunity in which we're just having a lot more exposure. The thing that really attracted us to Glassdoor versus an Indeed or ZipRecruiter and some of these sites you see is that really heavy millennial focus. So a lot of the demographics toward younger people are on Glassdoor. Obviously, you look around this room, you look across the country on site, we do have a lot of millennial, even Gen Z team members. So recently what we were able to do was pull data that compared us to our competitors, and the results were astounding in terms of those who are proud to work at Cardinal, our overall star rating, literally like light years ahead of our competitors. And I think it really speaks to, yeah, we got shit that's wrong. Yes, nothing's perfect. Yes, we got to work on stuff. But the culture that has brought this company together is doing something right in this industry, and we're really excited about it. That's what the labor markets are actually saying. So Nick and his team are running point. One thing that's always helpful is to continue to give feedback, both good and bad, so we can continue to improve. How your onboarding went, how your job process went. If it's a 5-star, thank you. If it's a 3-star, tell us how we can improve. If it's a 1-star, just go talk directly to Nick. Do not go online. That's not cool. All right? But I think it's just really helpful for us to continue to gather information on how we're doing. Because I will tell you, from all of our recruiting, I think the thing that really excites people about Cardinal is we want to be a think tank and a place of talent, where great people come together and do great things. And I think we're on the path to do that. So thanks for the question there. What else? Go ahead, Sam.
Maybe in like one sentence, what are your guys' like biggest initiatives following up the end of 2019 from like each department?
One word, Keystone. Expansion. Fun too. Student housing fun too.
Oh, fun. At least it's fun.
Have fun.
I knew it.
Biggest thing we're going to do at the end of 2019 is onboarding. Thank you for that really limited creative. What else?
All right, I've got one. How are the BI intelligence initiatives coming with the data?
He was asking for a Keystone update.
We need our brain trust up here for that answer.
Yeah, so as you guys know, we've been working on the Keystone platform for a number of months. So at this point, we've got some really good data in there, a lot around ABC data, a lot around rents, a lot around financials. So we're working really closely over the last couple months with Eddie and Shannon to get ready to start to roll this out. So our goal is to get this in live, in everyday lives, for a lot of our sales, a lot of our CMs to start with. Potentially we'll look for other folks on site as well, but initially just starting with that core group. So over the next really month, we'll really start to see this take a hold throughout from an operations perspective, throughout those groups. So really close to getting that out and live, and then we'll continue to expand. This will be really iterative, so we'll continue to expand that to other groups, KPIs for every group within the organization, so everybody's got really good, clear data and insight into how we're performing, what we need to focus on next.
And one of the things that we're really focused on is creating actionable information that folks in their day-to-day jobs can do, and also the flip side of that, which is the automation and efficiency of the reporting that we do and retirement of those things. And one of the things that we're really honed in on is the level of adoption that we'll get and how quickly we can anticipate kind of behaviors across the company to change. And some of that will end up being instigated through us having no other option to produce a weekly reporting suite than using Keystone. So there's some good things there that I think that we'll be implementing in September, October, November that will not only get folks in the system, but really get everybody using it quickly for both workflow items and most importantly, reporting items at the onset.
I think at a high level, and appreciate that question on BI specifically, I think BI is one example of the company's continual investment into our enterprise solutions and really building the backbone of Cardinal, because what we really think will continue to happen is not only the growth of our primary businesses of investment management, but the expansion into other lines of business. And we want to be able to offer a best-in-class solution to people like Michael, who can build companies underneath the Cardinal Group umbrella. Same with Kevin and his team at Highside. So if you look at BI, which was not cheap, it's a 7-figure investment. We're just getting started. We also paid a pretty heavy price to roll out Ulti-Pro, which was a significant upgrade over ADP. I know it's still a little clunky. We're 6 months in. We recently signed a contract to put our entire company's CRM platform on the Salesforce. So many of you will start to engage with Salesforce, which is by far the industry leader in CRM, so that we can continue to invest in client management, new opportunities. And we're also investing in a project management platform, which there's kind of a little bit of we're kind of almost there, so I won't roll out too much there. But I think that's our continual focus, is how do we take all the bullshit work away so that we can do the stuff that really matters, and that's just across the board. Better reporting, better information, better time tracking, like what really matters. And as a company, we'll continue to invest in that so that it frees up so much time to do those really high value tasks for each of us. So BI is one example. I think we all know that like the digital is just changing the way we work, and Cardinal Group's trying to embrace that change and be on the forefront of it. So, thank you, good question. One more. John O'Brien. He knows everything. Cool. Anyway, 0 more. Thanks for everything. All right.